And that's how we're gonna start off with the comprensión auditiva, is I'm gonna give you some prices of things and you're gonna write down the number, not the word, because that would just be, masochistic of me. If you write down the word, it's just the number, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be
Does that make
difficult.
sense? I'm going from memory now because I realize my secretary is making copies and she still has my test, so. So with the vocabulary, obviously you need to know it, right? I mean, that goes without saying. And so we're going into a multiple choice section with vocabulary. I expanded it, there are 10 items there where you do sentence completion with the most appropriate word from the list. So know your vocabulary. I mean, it's not much more to say about that. In the page 228, we read La comida como cultura. We talked about which countries. You might want to review that because at the end of the test there's a section on that where I ask you questions about, in this case they're just giving you afirmaciones like se come más carne que en cualquier otro país, but I put it in form of a question, and so you'll answer the questions, for example, en qué país se come más carne que en cualquier otro país, and then you would have to answer the question in a complete sentence. So make sure you review those as well. And an easy way to review those is to go to iLearn, pull up that activity, and put in the answers, and they'll show you if you're right or if you're wrong.
I was gonna say, we only did some of them.
Yeah, we only did a handful. I think we did 4 or 5 of them, but
So I have.
4 of them, okay.
Mhm.
But you can go easily and find the other ones, like I said, in iLearn, so it's not that big of a deal. Then obviously page 230, 231, like I said to you, they're gonna be, obviously we always have that paragraph where verb in parentheses, you conjugate the verb in parentheses. And then we're gonna do, you're gonna do personal questions and answers. You also have a section where I give you subjects and verbs, and you make your own sentences, right? So for example, if you look like, it's not exactly like this, but if you look on 7.9 on page 232, gives you a subject, yo, and then it gives you a verb, conducir, and you have to write out, you have to make up an original sentence. It's like that, except that I'm giving you a group of verbs, I'm giving you a group of subjects, and you can combine them. You can only use each verb once, and then you need to complete the sentence. Going back to what we just did with that oral, you need to know what the words mean, right? So that you can write a complete sentence using the subject that you choose and the verb that you choose. All the verbs in that section will be in the irregular grouping from 230 and 231. Does that make sense? What did you say?
Mm-hmm.
We did por en para. You're going to have a section with por en para. Obviously, we did the little activity sheet where you fill in the blank. You circled rather por en para, and then you wrote down why you chose por or why you chose para. And on the exam, you're just choosing por en para. You're just writing in por en para. But again, it comes back to what I talked to you about then. If you don't know why you're putting the word in, if you don't know what the words around it mean, obviously, it's going to be problematic. But if you don't know why you would use por or why you would use para, then you're just throwing darts. So think about why. When you go through activities, like, for example, on page 234, 7.13, you would put, go into iLearn. I don't know, did I sign that one? I may have assigned that one.
You did.
7.13,
You did.
yeah. And any of those assignments that you've already done, if you wanted to go back and look at that one, ask yourself, why is it para and number 1? And like we did with that, with that activity where you wrote down why. If you can tell, why you need one preposition over the other, then you won't have any trouble with that section. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Then the last section, again, more vocabulary. Like I said, I'm doing vocabulary in one section where it's a multiple choice section. Like I said, there are some questions and personal questions after, also vocabulary that just deal with the vocabulary words. But all the vocabulary words, I haven't divided section 1 and section 2. It's all kind of basically together, right? Okay, then the last section is on those direct object pronouns, right? And just like we did, some ideas of this at iLearn, in class the other night, we did on page 245, 7.26, where you answered the question, ¿Quién preparó la comida? And you said, yo la preparé, in the sense that you replace the direct object noun with the direct object pronoun, right? So instead of saying, ¿Quién compró la comida? Mi esposo compró la comida. You say, mi esposo la compró. You remember that from the other night? So there are going to be, and you did conversation activities in iLearn, etc. In this case, what is happening is much like this. You've got some questions in Spanish. They use the preterite past tense, not just the irregular preterite, but also regular verbs, So again, I would review regular verb endings in the preterite, because as you can clearly see here on page 245, most of these verbs, in fact, aren't irregular, right? Compró, preparó, cocinó, comió, lavó, and limpió are all regular verbs, right? So make sure that you know that. But, so you'll answer the question in a complete sentence, just like we did in this activity, replacing the direct object noun with the direct object pronoun, right? So for example, if you had a question like, tomaste café, right? That's a simple one, because there's going to be a direct object in all these, because that's your task. So how are you going to answer that question using a direct object pronoun? Tomaste café.
Lo café.
Lo.
Yeah.
Lo.
Tomaste.
Not tomaste.
Lo.
Who's this talking to?
You.
You. So how do you answer?
Lo tome.
There you go. Lo tomé. Say, like si, lo tomé, right? So that's how that section, just like we did there. So that's how that section will go with direct object pronouns. Not a section where you're going to fill in the blank with a direct object pronoun, but in fact you're going to actually use it to answer sentences, or answer questions rather. And the questions will all be in the preterite past tense. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's the test, and that is the complete test.